What's up, motoheads? Let me show you how to bleed your brakes on most systems by yourself with ease. I think I've done this before. I think I've done a video similar to this before, but this is going to be quick and to the point on the brakes. Quick, easy, by yourself. All you have to do is stay focused. Let me show you. I do have to say, this technique, I know for sure from experience, works on older ABS brake systems and everything else. Cars, motorcycles, anything that has regular hydraulic, pressure applicated brakes. So levers, brake pedals, with master cylinders, even with the brake booster diaphragm, it works with those. Older ABS, but I have not tried this technique on any of the newer ABS. I would say anything that's like probably 2010 and up, I have not tried this technique on. I can say honestly. And on a car, it would be the same as if you're bleeding it with someone with the little 8mm wrench, opening it and closing it. You don't need any of that stuff. All you have to do is watch your reservoir and your spill container, which I will show my spill container in a second. But you have to have patience, and you'll do a little pumping sometimes to get things going, but generally you just have to let gravity do the work and take your time. Crack a beer, put on some oldies music, kick back and just watch the reservoir go down and watch your spill container fill up. Let me show you. Of course, using my bike as a example, as you can see, I have a brand new totally aftermarket reservoir and rear brake master cylinder and steel braided line. The way that I bled that is the same way that I bled my front, with my new reservoir and my steel braided line going down to the caliper. And how did I do that myself with no issues and not having to pump 1,000 times? I mean, I did have to pump a couple of times to get things going when the line and the master cylinder are filled with nothing but air. But this is how I do it. I do it with a homemade spill reservoir thing, kind of similar to what you would get at a Harbor Freight or anything where they have a pump on it. But you don't, if you're not pressed for time, you don't need any of that, and it's fail safe. And it's simply just a bottle with a hole in it, and you always make sure that you got fluid. You always have to start with fluid in here that meets the end of the hose that goes in here. I like putting a little swivel or something to where you can turn the direction of the hoses while it's sitting down. And then you can have varied hoses, varied size of hoses up here. And then I prefer to have a clear hose to where as you're doing it at the end, you can monitor if there's air bubbles coming through, which you will see them. And then you'll see them stop, and you'll see this thing fill up. And as you fill the reservoir, whichever one it is, it's simple. And here, let me post it in position. Let me mock it up and basically run you through how it works. So this is mocked up. I'm not bleeding my brakes right now, but this is how I bled this system. Is you have the bottle, you have the nipple set on, you crack it with your wrench. You make sure that this is full. I actually should fill this up a little more. I got some space in there. I could max it out. Why not? But you open it up. You pump it a couple of times till you see the fluid come down the clear line and into there. And after it starts flowing, gravity will take its own effect. This reservoir isn't closed off when it's open. There's room for fluid to go all the way through. So all you got to do is watch this and keep the cap off and keep pouring fluid in there. As long as you don't drop this out and allow more air into the line, you won't get any air and you will bleed the system. It'll take about 20 to 30 minutes, but you can literally sit here on a stool, drink a beer, listen to tunes, and not have to do all that hustle, not have to do all that work. You can even be doing another project right here, something right here that doesn't take your complete attention away. And as long as you let gravity do its thing, it'll flow all that out. It'll go into that little waste gate or whatever you want to call it, catch container, and you'll have perfectly bled brakes. And when you know that it's good and ran a couple of ounces through, because the system doesn't hold more than, I would say, 4 to 5 ounces of fluid at the most. That would be a big system. Maybe a system like on my Harley. But you just make sure that the fluid goes through, put it in there, tighten the nut, make sure that you cap it off, fill it up, put the cap on, you're done by yourself. And you can do this with a car. You start with the farthest tire from the reservoir. So if it was a car and the reservoir was here, you'd want it at the furthest away. So generally the reservoir on an automobile is right behind the firewall by the engine on the driver's side. So you would start with the passenger side rear tire, then do driver's side rear tire, then you would do passenger side front tire, then the last tire would be the driver's side front tire. And you would do the same thing with that. You could do all 4 lines with that. You'd probably want to make a bigger reservoir, maybe out of like a 32 ounce and some longer hose. And you'll do the whole job yourself. Flawless, perfectly. Then also an update. I recently made these crash protectors out of some aluminum AliExpress BMX pegs. They fit nice in there, beautiful. And these things aren't super solid metal. They will bend, fold, and bash in if this thing goes down. I put some decent wheel adjusters. Fucking loving that. Feeling wonderful about that. But looking nice. Little extra protection. And then this thing, we've got the OEM Honda plastics going on. This thing's gonna get a black metal flake and a chameleon color on some of the panels. And we're also gonna tie in the gray with the side panel. So this thing's gonna be beautiful when it's done. I gotta say, after having a whole set of OEM grom plastics in my hand, I can tell you, see, this is real grom stuff. OEM Honda. The plastic's no better. It's the same stuff, same exact code that's on that, same exact ABS plastic, same thickness. I actually like that this is all one piece, not fucking that rubberized plastic and then like 3 of those pieces to make that one. I see the reason why. It allows the bike to flex, like for the rider if you're squeezing it with your legs and shit or stuff, but mine's fine. It doesn't need to flex. And man, I don't know. I like that plastic a little bit better than the Honda myself. I do gotta say they're nice cut lines, very uniform, nice. But there's no difference in quality. I like the single piece.